Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vitvaram Satgurum Brahma Vitvaram. Satpratyaya Kimnu Vihaya Santam Hridyesha Chinta Rahito Hrudakyah Katham Smaramastamameyamekam Tasya Smritistatra Drudhaiva Nishtha Mrityunjayam Mrityubhiyashritanam Aham Matir Mrityumupaiti Purvam Atha Swabhavadamruteshu Teshu Katham Punar Mrityudhiyo Vakashah Sarvairnidanam Jagato Hamascha Vachyav Prabhuh Kaschidapara Shakti Chitre Tralokyam Cha Vilokita Cha Pataf Prakasho Pyabhavat Sa Ekah. Every verse of Saddarshanam has a beautiful theme in a way that it is independent. The second verse had the theme Sharanagati of Ahankara in Sat. That itself brings fearlessness. Bhagavan said that is Saddarshanam. Freedom from samsara is by surrendering this Ahankara to Sat. Now again, we should not have any literal meaning ideas. Because generally you see some metaphors sometimes where there is a drop. That drop slowly comes, merges in the ocean, then loses itself. So here also we start feeling sometimes there is something called as Ahankara. Now it is going to go and merge in some other entity called as Sat. The whole idea is to understand the word Badha. What does the snake have to do to merge with rope? It doesn't have to go anywhere. It just has to know that its existence is derived from the rope. There is nothing called as snake independent of the rope. That understanding itself is called as merging. So here in place of that snake, there is Ahankara. In place of rope, there is Sat. So merging of Ahankara and Sat is through Jnanam. So Sharanagati here is also through Jnanam. Mrityunjayam Mrityubhya Ashritanam. Those who out of fear of death have taken shelter of Mrityunjaya Bhagavan. Now we have studied other texts, so we know these terms, Vachyaartha and Lakshyaartha. What is the meaning of Vachyaartha? Literal meaning. Literal meaning. And Lakshyaartha is implied meaning. So when we say Vachyaartha of Bhagwan, it is Saguna. When we say Lakshyaartha of Bhagwan, it is Nirguna. So in this particular verse, which meaning should we take of Mrityunjaya? Vachyaartha or Lakshyaartha? Lakshyaartha. The implied meaning, which is Sat, that is the meaning of the word Mrityunjaya. Those who take shelter, those who take surrender, or those who surrender in Sat, what does Bhagwan do for them? Aham matihi mrityum upaiti purvam. Right at the beginning, he takes away this notion that you are a jiva. Takes away this idea that you are a finite being, you are born, you will perish, and you are going through samsara. Tumari hi kripa, tumahi raghunandana. Bhagwan's grace is such that that grace will bring knowledge. Soi janahi jehi devu janai. That person will know whom Bhagwan reveals this knowledge. Janata tumahi hoi jai. This comes in Rama Valmiki Samvada. Bhagwan says, Valmiki Rishi says, that the one who knows you becomes you. Janat tumahi hoi jai. Bhagwan Ramanuja Ji says, if a salt doll wants to measure the depth of the ocean, no raincoat can save it. Means wearing a nice coat to protect itself from water, it went inside to measure the depth. He says the nature of this truth is such, if one really surrenders, removing Ahankara, right then and there is Sakshatkara. That is this verse, Aham matihi mrityum upaiti purvam. The only catch here is we should be ready to give our Ahankara. Bhagwan is ready to take it away. But this Jiva feels so comfortable with Ahankara. Rather, we feel what will we do without our transactional identity? We should do this exercise sometimes. Just write down what are the transactional identities I have. First title is our name. Then all other titles, work-related titles. Then relations, mother, father, son, daughter. All those titles you write down. And then think about what will be my identity if somebody says, I want to take away all these titles. Just hypothetically. What will be my thought? How will I feel if somebody says, give me all these titles? The one who knows that there is a substratum independent of all these titles, I have a nature which is independent of all these titles, he says that sadhaka will be able to have Saddarshanam. In fact, that is the true meaning of Sharanagati, where the sadhaka doesn't want to keep anything, not even this Ahankara. The rest of the things, whatever you offer to Bhagwan, Bhagwan must be saying, these things already belong to me. What Bhagwan said to Kevat, who came with so many offerings and offered to Bhagwan. And Kevat said, Bhagwan, all of these things belong to you. What did Bhagwan reply? Kahahu satya. Kevat, that is true. Whatever you are saying is true, everything really belongs to Bhagwan only. So when this sadhaka wants to offer something, he says, Bhagwan, I am offering this list of identities. We have to find our own ways of opening the word Ahankara so that it becomes closer to us. First, identify Ahankara and then find out how to connect more with that word. List of identities is easy, right? Very easily we can come up with a big list. That itself is rooted in Ahankara. Athas swabhavat amruteshu teshu. So in that Sat Swarupa Atma, once Ahankara is removed, what remains is that Sat alone, which is immortal by nature. Swabhavat means its essential nature is that. Another meaning of Swabhava is in a different context. When we say Swabhavastu pravartate, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says this whole creation is running based on Swabhava. 5th chapter, Swabhavastu pravartate. There the meaning of Swabhava is Maya. There the meaning of Swabhava is Maya. Swabhava doesn't mean inherent there. Swabhava means that which is natural. Means you don't have to put forth effort to think that you are a jiva. Don't have to put forth effort to have ignorance about Brahma. It is already there. That is why it is called Swabhavika. But here when the word Swabhava comes, Atha Swabhavat amruteshu teshu. So here Swabhava means its inherent nature. Katham punaha mrityudhiya avakasha. Where is the chance of fear of death to come back again? This prasanga, if you want to get a Pauranic example, you should read Sundarkanda, where Goswamiji says this whole ocean that Hanumanji jumped across is Deha Abhimana. Deha Abhimana is always attached with fear of death. We don't only have Abhimana of Deha and we say I am free from this fear of death. So who is that person who will be able to jump across this fear of death? Who is that one who can go across body identification? Yeah, that is this Hanumanji, or the devotee who has qualities like Hanumanji. The one who is very, very alert. Mainaka Parvat comes, just touches it. With Surasa, he has this dialogue where he shows what is a healthy perspective towards body. Hanumanji says, I'm not afraid of death. I will come and enter your mouth, but only after my work is done. So when we say sadhaka has to rise above body identification, he's not having some erroneous idea about body. Means he appreciates the value of good health. Even for sadhana, we need that. It is not something he neglects. But at the same time, knows that I'm not this body. Or strives to understand this point, I'm not this body. 5th chapter again, Bhagavan says, Jnani is the one who lives in this body, which is like a city of 9 gates. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. Ajnani also lives in body, but he can never say, I am living in the body. Because he thinks, I am the body, so he cannot make that statement, I am living in the body. Now the next verse, the connection was, verse number 2 spoke about Sharanagati. Oh, before we go to verse number 2, last session I had asked one reflection point. Right? What was it? First verse, if you ask the question, what is Saddarshanam? What message can you get from verse number 1? I'm sure all of you must have thought. If not, please do. First verse is telling us Saddarshanam is abidance in Sat, devoid of Ahankara, devoid of Vrittis. Chinta Rahita, that is a key word there. Means my essential nature is devoid of Ahankara and it is devoid of all thoughts. This exercise we can do for every verse on our own. Once you read the verse, ask this question. This text is called Saddarshanam. Some echo is there. This text is called Saddarshanam. So after reading that particular verse, how has the meaning of Saddarshanam opened up for me? Independent of the verse itself, just the main message. Second verse, the message was Sharanagati is a way to freedom from samsara. And Sharanagati into Sat, Sharanagati of Ahankara in Sat. Now third verse, the connection is, whenever you say Sharanagati, it presumes that there is a triad. The triad is of Jiva, Jagat, and Ishwara. So now this student is asking, you said there is only one truth, one non-dual truth. But moment we are discussing about Sharanagati, doesn't it bring duality there? Doesn't it bring some kind of duality? How is this Advaita Siddhanta still held on to when we are discussing the triad? What is the triad? Jiva, Jagat, Ishwara. Now the Sanskrit is little back and forth, okay? So you have to mark which are the words in the sentence. The first sentence is Jagataha ahamascha nidanam. You can just mark the numbers. What is the first word, second word, and so on. Jagataha ahamascha nidanam apara shaktihi. Apara shaktihi, second line. Kaschit prabhuhu. Kaschit prabhuhu. Okay, you can put a comma after this. Then it is sarvaihi vachyaha. Sarvaihi vachyaha. I'll repeat this again. Jagataha ahamascha nidanam apara shaktihi. Kaschit prabhuhu sarvaihi vachyaha. Now you see, Jagataha means of the world. Ahamaha means of Ahankara. So in the triad, Ahankara refers to Jiva. Okay, Jagataha means of the world, and Ahamaha. Ahamascha is there, right? So Ahamaha cha becomes Ahamascha. This is Ramascha Sandhi. Ahamaha cha becomes Ahamascha. Jagataha ahamascha nidanam. Nidanam means the cause. The primordial cause of Jagat and Aham, of Ahankara. What is it? Apara Shaktihi. There is some inexplicable, infinite power which is the cause of Jagat, this whole creation, and Ahankara. To whom does this Apara Shakti belong to? Kaschit Prabhu. Some Bhagwan who is a wielder of this Apara Shakti, what we call as Maya, what we call as Avidya. So this Bhagwan who is a wielder of Maya, that Apara Shakti, that becomes the cause of Jagat and Ahankara. World and Ahankara. Who says this? Sarvaihi Vachyaha. All those people who are thinking about this truth, they say that Bhagwan is the cause of Jagat and Ahankara. Now this thought doesn't come to everybody, huh? That what is the cause of world, what is the cause of Ahankara. Ramana Maharshi just said Sarvaihi Vachyaha, everybody says it. But in everybody, only those who are wanting to have Saddarshanam. That is their trajectory, that is their path. Means if somebody is happy only with Jagat, somebody is happy only with Ahankara, that person will never ask this question. So if somebody wants Saddarshanam, that person has to inquire into the cause. Now to simplify this point, what is the main statement here? Bhagwan is the cause of Jagat and Ahankara. We can take support of Puranas. When Bhagwan does Leela, this is the point he shows. Now to show that Bhagwan is cause of Jagat, means all inert things which are there, sentient, insentient, both things which are there, cause is Bhagwan only. It is not some other matter which is the main cause. Bhagwan does this Leela during this Govardhana Leela. When Indra Bhagwan becomes very proud that he is the one who controls rain over here. One day Bhagwan comes, notices the pride of Indra Bhagwan and goes and asks Nanda Baba, he said, what are you doing? He said, today is a very special day. Once a year we worship Indra Bhagwan because he is the Lord of rain. If he is unhappy, torrential rain will come, everything will be flooded. Bhagwan, becomes such a communist at that time. He says, why are you worshipping God and all? Don't you know that whatever you do, karma, that only brings the result? Why do you need somebody called as Indra to give you rain? If you have done good karma, you will get rain. If you have not done good karma, rain will not come. So why are you bringing Indra Bhagwan in between? Don't worship Indra. Then he says, Govardhana mountain is our nourisher. Wherever nourishment is seen, there we see Ishwaratva. There we see Bhagwan. Recently we were discussing in one satsang. We say food is God. Right? Why do you say food is God? The characteristic of God that is seen in food. Right? That which sustains, that which creates actually, sustains and nourishes. So wherever this definition will go, there you can say that is Bhagwan. So our work that we do, it sustains, it nourishes. So we say work is worship. That work itself is my altar where I see my Bhagwan. So whatever bhavana I have towards Bhagwan, that same bhavana I should have towards that object. So food also will become Anna Tulya, Deva Tulya. Annam will become Deva Tulya. Same with work and so many things. So Bhagwan says, go and worship Govardhan mountain, that is our God. Now the beauty is, when they keep everything as an offering, it is at Govardhan mountain takes all the Naivedyam they had kept. Milk, so many other things were there. All of it was accepted by Govardhan mountain. The remaining story is the later part. Bhagwan lifts the mountain, saves everybody. But the main point is, the question will become, or somebody might get a question, how can mountain eat? How can mountain eat? Because we think mountain is insentient. When Mahatma Ji said, you have doubt that whether mountain ate or not, right? And what is your logic? Mountain is insentient. He says, your body eats or not? He says, yes, body can eat. Body is sentient or insentient? Body is insentient. Body by itself is insentient. If this body can eat, Why can't a Govardhan mountain eat? We don't have to get technical over here. Huh? There is a reflection of consciousness in one place, another place it doesn't reflect. The main point here is to appreciate Nidanam. The cause of this entire creation is the same Lord. So whenever we see Jagat, attention can be shifted to Bhagavan. Now to show Ahankara, the cause of Ahankara is the same Lord. Bhagavan does that Leela where Brahmaji hides the Gopas. All of you are familiar with this, right? Little bit. He hides all these Gopabalas, thinking that something will be misplaced, everything will be disturbed. So without me, what are they going to do? Bhagavan becomes these Gopabalas, becomes their Sharira, becomes that Ahankara also. And it is said for that whole year, until they were hidden, all their mothers, they experienced a very special bliss. Because Ananda Swarupa Bhagavan is appearing as their son now. The main message there is Nidanam of Aham is also the same Lord. Simpler way to look at it, Ahankara is reflection. What is the cause of that reflection? The original. So that Chaitanya getting reflected in individual conditioning is called as Ahankara. Those two words, Sarvai Nidanam, Jagataha Ahamascha, Vachya Prabhu Kaschidapara Shakti. So how will the sentence be? Jagataha Ahamascha Nidanam, Apara Shakti. There is this infinite power, which is the cause of Jagat and Ahankara. Even to appreciate this point needs a lot of thinking. That what could be the cause of this Jagat? What could be the cause of this Ahankara? Because we say, looking at the effect, we can fathom the greatness of the cause. If you must have seen Raja Ravi Verma's paintings, sometimes you wonder, is it a photograph or is it a painting? And this he did so many years ago. We don't see the king, we don't see the painter, but looking at the effect, we can fathom what could be the greatness of the one who did it. Even this architecture, when they have temples built, such high elevations, huge stones, you wonder how did they even transport that stone up there? And you don't even know where that stone ends, where the next one is joined. Like that, it is said, if somebody can inquire into Jagat, the way in which Jagat functions, we will come to this understanding that there has to be some Apara Shakti which runs it. We had seen this in Ishavasya Upanishad. Even simple cycles, if we see, they learn in school, right? Water cycle, carbon cycle, one more is there, nitrogen cycle, I think. Even water cycle, the way it functions. One of our Swamiji would say, transportation without pollution. Bringing water from ocean to the place wherever it is. Doing that in such a way, so harmonious, nothing going off track. And you see carbon cycle, the way it recycles, the way it does things. Without any chemicals, purifying the whole system. Means whenever we see order, there has to be some intelligence which runs it. So that Apara Shakti is Prabhu. That Apara Shakti is Bhagavan. Now what did we end up with? We ended up with world. We ended up with Ahankara or Jiva, and we have Bhagavan. Three things are there, right? Triad is there. So the question is, how can non-duality be there if this triad exists? So then Bhagavan Raman Maharshi, he gives example. Chitre atra means in this painting, lokyam vilokitacha. Lokyam means that which is seen. Vilokita means the one who is seeing. Lokyam vilokitacha pataha prakashaha api saha ekaha abhavat. Pataha means the canvas. Prakasha means light. That one alone has become everything. So what is the example here? There is a canvas on which there are two people. Okay. Son, daughter, and father. Two of them are looking at a scenery. The sun is also there. Scenery is also there. Scenery, the sun, all the things which are there, that is lokyam. Lokyam means that is seen, that is Jagat. Vilokita are those two people. The daughter and the father, they are the Vilokita. But he says, the seen and the one who is seeing it, both of them is the same canvas. That canvas alone is the, means wherever you touch on that painting, either you touch the person looking at it, or you touch the thing which is seen, the scenery part, you will be touching the canvas alone. Like that he says, Jagat and Ahankara is nothing but that same Ishwara. Okay? Ishwara alone has become Jagat. Ishwara alone is appearing as Ahankara. What will be the meaning of Ishwara here? Saguna or Nirguna? Here it will be Nirguna again, because Ishwara is Sat. Instead of saying Sat has become Jagat, Sat has become Jiva. Bhagavan is telling here, Ishwara has become Jagat, Ishwara has become Jiva. In that way. So although there is triad, there are no three entities there. It's only one Sat, which appears as three. Okay. Sat with Jagat Upadi gets the title of Ishwara. So that becomes Saguna Ishwara. Same Sat with Vyashti Upadi becomes Jiva. Actually, I was reading another work by Bhagavan Raman Maharshi. It's Dialogues with Bhagavan. There he explains this analogy in a different way. How did you understand this? You have the canvas. On that canvas, you have this painting. Now that example is clear, right? The Vilokita, the person who is seeing, is Ahankara. And the world that is seen in the painting is Jagat, which is Lokyam. So Lokyam and Vilokita, both of that is a canvas. So this example you can keep aside. He says Chitre here means Chalachitre. Chalachitre means in a movie. Chitre atra Lokyam cha Vilokita cha. He says if a movie is going on and on the screen you see so many things. But if the director is able to project the audience also in the screen, in the movie, he says now you see how the screen will be. In that screen you are seeing the seer also, Ahankara also, and you are seeing the world also. Is it like that? In that Sat, Jagat appears and Ahankara appears. If you want a more modern day example, take LCD screens. You know why LCD screen is a more perfect example? Because it is Swayam Prakasha. An example should match in all facets. Prakasha word is there in the verse. In that painting example, if you take Prakasha to be something else, if you take light as the Prakasha and canvas as the Pataha, and you say that Pataha is Sat and Prakasha is Chit, now what did you end up with? Sat is different, Chit is different, which is not what is meant. But in that example, the LCD example or whichever is Swayam Prakasha, that example, the substratum is the screen, that is Sat. But because it is Swayam Prakasha, means it has light of its own, it is Chit also. Now in that you are seeing Ahankara and you are seeing Jagat. Means nowadays when you stream things, right? You have the camera and you have the screen. Now when you look at the screen, you see yourself also. And you see others. You see from the screen standpoint, that screen is Sat. That screen is also Chit. It is Prakasha also. In that Prakasha, in that Sat, we are seeing Ahankara and we are seeing Jagat. That is the main idea here. I hope it didn't confuse you all more, that LCD screen example. No, right? Otherwise, stick with the painting one. Huh? It is straightforward. But just make sure that Prakasha, you don't make it different from Sat. If you take Prakasha to be external light, then your Pata will remain here, Prakasha will be somewhere else. Okay. All right. So this reflection you have to do. Huh? What is Saddarshanam pointed out through this verse? What is Saddarshanam? Now the next verse, somebody is asking this question. He says, if you said that one alone becomes as three, Ishwara alone is appearing as Jagat, Ishwara alone is appearing as Jiva. Why is it I'm not able to recognize that one? Why is it that I cannot see that one? I see this whole thing as many. To explain the reason for this kind of difficulty, there is this next verse. Arabhyate jiva jagat paratma tattvabhidanena matam samastam idam trayam yavadaham matisyat sarvottamaham matishunynishtha आरभ्यते जीव जगत्परात्मा तत्त्वाभिधानेन मतं समस्तम् इदं त्रयं यावदहं मति स्यात् सर्वोत्तमाहं मतिशून्यनिष्ठा. जीव जगत paratma. Jiva is Ahankara, Jagat is the world, Paratma is Ishwara. Para Atma, the one who is above everybody, the one who is independent, that is this Paramatma. Samastam Matam means all different schools of thoughts, including Vedanta. Different darshanas, school of thoughts. Tattva Abhidanena Arabhyate. Having named these three entities, Abhidana means named. Tattva means these three entities. Tattva Abhidanena Arabhyate. They begin by naming these three identities, Jiva, Jagat, Paramatma. But the main point here is, although they begin with these three, Vedanta does not culminate with these three. Arabhyate, natu samapyate. And the question is, Why do they have to begin with 3? Why can't we directly start with that one truth and skip this whole inquiry into Jagat, Jiva, Ishwara? It is said journey begins only from the point that we are right now. Destination might be great. You say, I want to climb that peak. But you cannot climb it unless I acknowledge where I am right now. It is not that Vedanta wants to talk about Jiva Jagat Ishwara. Because we see this triad, Vedanta does anuvada, restatement of anubhava, of what we are already feeling. But really speaking, even to appreciate this triad is only after Shravanam, only after Sadhana. Because there could be so many people who think there is only Jagat, there is only Jiva. Ishwara is not in the inclusion, in the equation at all. So first step in our sadhana is to bring Ishwara. Then how does sadhana become with this triad? The sadhaka, the jiva is told, do seva of the world. Jiva is told to serve Jagat. But how should I serve Jagat? He says, offering it to Ishwara. Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhrit Deva Pujanam. Ishadhi Yukta Jagat Sevanam. Ishadhi Yukta means holding on to this idea or understanding that my Bhagwan alone is this Jagat. He says, serve this Jagat. If that is too difficult, he says, just serve Jagat first, then offer that seva to Bhagwan. Don't complicate it too much with technicalities. Main thing is we should offer our seva to a higher altar. Now that itself sweetens this devotee's life. That same work which looked so bothering, uninspiring, he finds a new altar to dedicate that work. And that itself sweetens his life. World around is also sweetened because of this bhavana. Then when he does this inquiry, mind becomes subtler, starts inquiring into what is the substratum of this triad now. Jiva Jagat Ishwara, one mananam is on from the sadhana standpoint. What is the beauty of doing this mananam? The second part is to inquire, where is this triad coming from? That is where Bhagavan says the next part. He says, Idam Trayam Yavad Aham Matisyat. This triad is actually relative to Ahankara. Idam Trayam means this triad. Until when is this triad there? Yavad Aham Matisyat. As long as Ahankara is there, only until that point this triad exists. In deep sleep, when Ahankara is dissolved, where is this triad of Jiva Jagat and Ishwara? Means all of it folds back into the original cause, which is Sat. But the question is, in waking, what will happen? In waking, there is no absolute dissolution like that. Means literal dissolution is not there. In waking, the dissolution is through knowledge. In waking, the dissolution is through knowledge. Because until this Ahankara is there, until that point, triad will be there. This we have been studying from Tattva Bodha time. In the last portion, Bhagavan says, until Jiva Ishwara Bheda is there, samsara nivrutti cannot happen. Means absolute samsara nivritti cannot happen until this Ahankara is maintained. So dropping of upadhi is first from Ahankara standpoint. When that is dropped, upadhi from tatpada, totality standpoint, is also dropped. That is why the word arabhyate comes. We start with this idea or understanding that there are three. Accomplish the purpose of why there is this triad. Once that purpose is accomplished, then the next step is abiding in Sat. Idam trayam yavat ahammati syat sarvottama ahammati shunya nishtha. The abidance in this truth, which is devoid of ahankara. That is the greatest nishtha compared to all other nishtha. Nishtha means conviction. If somebody has, means basically, where do we go to seek solutions to our problems? In that thing, we have nishtha. Let us start from the extreme spectrum. Shakuni went to shrewdness to seek solution to all his problems. Means he was nishtha in that. Kapata nishtha. Now somebody who is a sadhaka, he will seek solutions in his sadhana, not the world outside. Bhagavan Shankaracharya writes this in Mundakopanishad Bhashya. If somebody is nishtha in japa, whatever problem comes, he says, let me do more japa, that problem will go away. So that person will be called as japa nishtha. Somebody might have nishtha in tapasya. Whatever challenge is there, he says, let me fast for a few days, or every week on this day I will fast, everything will be okay. That person is called as taponishtha. Just like you have japanishtha, you have taponishtha. What will you call that person who seeks solutions in knowledge? Seeks solution in knowledge of Atma. That is called as Atmanishtha. Knowledge of Atma, the corollary is mithyatva of Ahankara. So sarvottama ahammati shunya nishtha. Ahammati is Ahankara. Shunya means devoid of Ahankara. That conviction is a supremost conviction. Sarvottama ahammati shunya nishtha. So what was the question here? If the truth is one, why can't I see it that way? Why do I see it as the triad? So Bhagavan is telling here, the obstacle there is Ahankara. One is it will not allow us to inquire at all in this triad. Either it will be too fascinated by Jagat, or something it will get carried away by. He says this inquiry into triad will not be possible with such an Ahankara. But once that Ahankara is dissolved, this triad doesn't appear as three, it merges back into one. Means we are seeing this world as many. The main cause for that is this expression of Maya. Expression of Maya is Ahankara. The example for this one appearing as many is prism. One ray of light hits that prism, appears as many. Now, if attention is only on the manyness, and the obstacle is that prism, we don't see through the other side of it. So we will always remain with that plurality. So plurality there, the many rays is this Jagat. Prism is Ahankara. Sat is that one ray which is coming. So one alone appears as many. That is this power. But both sides we have to understand. The sadhana side also and the siddhanta side also. Sadhana side has the beauty of Jiva surrendering to Ishwara. and doing his duty to Jagat, as worship of Bhagavan. But Adhisthana of all of that is Sat. Now, next verse, Bhagavan is telling, sometimes what happens, even in Vedanta, we discuss, we study so many things. But if we protect Ahankara and discuss about all other things, he says such kind of inquiry, such kind of study is futile. Ahankara remained where it is, and we discussed all the things under the sun, even in Vedanta. He says that inquiry will not take us far. But we have to be careful. Sometimes we don't like to study any technical topic. Moment that topic comes, we'll quote this verse. See, Bhagavan only said, what he's telling there is, make sure that in Jagat, you include Ahankara. Aham also should get negated along with Jagat. Don't protect it and then inquire. You know, one insignia of protecting Ahankara and studying is, we can actually feel more agitated after studying or discussing also. Some topics can be such, and they are Vedantic topics. Somebody made one point, you refuted it, they refuted it again. That time we should remember this verse. All of that discussion is futile if we get stuck with something in this world. Satyam Rushava Chididam Jadam Va. Satyam Rushava Chididam Jadam Va. Dukkham Sukham Veti Mudha Vivadah. Dukkham Sukham Veti Mudha Vivadah. Adrushta Niraham Pratitihi. Nishtha Vikalpa Paramakhileshta. Nishtha Vikalpa Paramakhileshta. Together. Satyam Rushava Chididam Jadam Va. Dukkham Sukham Veti Mudha Vivadah. Adrushta Niraham Pratitihi. Nishtha Vikalpa Paramakhileshta. Now this person is doing hair-splitting logic and discussion. About what? So just now you said this Jagat is mithya. So he's inquiring into nature of Jagat. He says, is it Satyam or it Mrusha? Is it real or is it false? Chit idam jadam va. Idam Jagat chit athva jadam. Is it sentient or is it insentient? Because just now you said Govardhan mountain had all of this. So is it sentient or is it insentient? Dukkham Sukham va. Some people say this world is Dukkhatmakam. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. See all this Dukkham over here. Birth, death, old age, disease. On the other hand, Nandati, Nandati, Nandati Eva. Vajagovindam Bhagavan says, person who lives in this world with this knowledge rejoices. And we have Vibhuti Yoga also, to see this whole world as Vibhuti of Bhagavan. You see, what is it? Is it Dukkham or is it Sukham? We should not expect any answers from Raman Maharshi. His style is to question the questioner, not to give answers to question. There are two ways to deal with problems. Either you resolve or you dissolve. Resolve is you bring both the parties, make them sit together, listen to this one, listen to that one, and then you resolve. Dissolve is Think about the questioner himself who is asking this question. Now you will come to know dissolution is only possible for ourselves, not for others. So Bhagwan, whoever went to him with whatever question, his main thing was find the adhisthana of the one who is questioning. So many things people asked him. His final answer was this. There was one more question somebody had asked. It's not coming right now. Next time I'll bring it. Different questions people ask about world. His final answer is the same. Somebody asked Bhagwan, for yoga darshan sadhana, which mat is better? Deer one or tiger one? Deer one or tiger one? Because in yoga darshana, there is elaborate details written about the impact of that asana on the meditator. You say if you sit on a deer skin, you'll have certain impact. If you sit on a tiger skin, you'll have a different impact. Bhagwan's answer was, for nishtha in atma, you don't need anything else. None of that is going to contribute directly to nishtha in atma. Yoga darshana sadhana, if you do, that has its own benefits. That will take you there. For that, whichever is pramana that you see. Means valid means to understand about those things that you see. But for Atmanishtha, this is inquire into the one who wants to do yoga. That was his perspective. So here also he says, about Jagat, you can ask all these questions. Is it Satyam or is it Mithya? Is it sentient or is it insentient? Is it Dukkhatmaka, sorrowful, or is it Ananda Swarupa? All of this is Mudha Vivada. Mudha Vivada means it is futile discussion. What is the reason? Because Ahankara is protected. He says, I want to be this person. Now I'm going to discuss about Jagat. Whereas Bhagwan says, this Ahankara is also part of Jagat. As long as we negate it, then this discussion is meaningful. The supreme-most nishtha, he says, is adrushta loka. Very beautiful word this is. That atma in which loka becomes adrushya. Adrushta loka means that sat in which there is no loka. Niraham pratiti. He says this is the main thing. Don't just negate loka in sat. What you have to negate is ahankara in sat. Niraham pratiti. That's why both the words he has used. If somebody discusses only about loka, is it satyam or it mrisha, chit or achit, dukkham or sukham, he says that alone is not sufficient. Adrushta loka you have to become, but along with that what is needed is niraham pratiti. Ahankara should dissolve in this sat. Nishtha avikalpa. That abidance which is devoid of any doubts. Vikalpa here means doubts. Nishtha avikalpa paramakhileshta. This is what is sought by everybody. Ishta means dear or sought. Akhila Ishta means sought by everybody. Parama Akhila Ishta, supreme-most thing sought by everybody. But do we feel that way? Everybody is seeking this? This is really speaking, we are seeking the same thing. Ananda is Akhila Ishta of every Jiva. But because of avidya, we are seeking it in different places. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.